Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Dan, and in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to find the best suppliers on Alibaba for your Amazon FBA product. Now, if you're a beginner with Amazon FBA and you're just getting started, then you know that Alibaba is an absolute maze. The first time you see this website, there's just products popping up at you everywhere. There's all these Chinese supplier names. There's all these terms like MOQ, verified supplier, trade assurance, right? It's just so confusing for a brand new beginner. And honestly, it seems like there's literally thousands and thousands of suppliers. There are over 3,000 suppliers on Alibaba just selling barbecue gloves and all selling pretty much the same thing. So that's why in this video tutorial, I'm going to be breaking it down for you as easy as possible. And I'm going to be showing you exactly how I find amazing suppliers on Alibaba for any new e-commerce products that I'm selling, any new brands that I'm building. I've actually spoken to hundreds of suppliers on this website over the years of me selling e-commerce products. And honestly, it's very funny. It's almost like a game to me at this point because first of all, obviously there's a language barrier, right? And it doesn't help at all if you're just getting started and, most of us, we don't speak Chinese. So the language of communication is obviously in English. And for Chinese suppliers on Alibaba, English is not their first language. And this is not a problem at all. It's just something that we have to adapt with. And it's just important to understand that, yes, English is not their first language. So just a bit of patience really does help when you are looking for a great supplier, because a great supplier relationship really will be the backbone of your successful e-commerce business. And again, a successful e-commerce business is one of the most rewarding things that you can possibly have, especially in the 21st century, being able to make money from home, being able to generate passive income, and being able to have location independence that will allow you to travel the world, live anywhere, and also make hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars per day selling products online on Amazon FBA. So by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to find a great supplier on Alibaba. And also, this won't be like all the other videos on YouTube on how to find suppliers. It's not just some generic, oh, type it in Alibaba and here you go. In this video, I'm also going to be talking about the psychology of suppliers on the website and how to actually negotiate with them, how to make suppliers compete against each other for your business, how to get the best deal and the best price, and how to ensure that the product that you do actually buy ends up being quality and you don't actually get scammed or screwed in some way. So that's why super excited for this video here today. Now for this, to actually get started with this video tutorial, I highly recommend getting the Amazon FBA starter pack. It's a free starter pack that I put together with a bunch of very, very valuable templates and resources for anybody looking to start their first successful Amazon FBA business. So you'll find the link to the Amazon FBA starter pack down below, and in there you'll find the exact template that I'm going to be using here in this video to actually contact suppliers. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go on Alibaba.com, and then you should see this is what it looks like right here. And you actually want to create an account if you don't already have an account yet. And when you create an account, there's a few options. You can do what I did, and you can just basically just join and then just sign up regularly. The second option you have when creating an account is you can actually create a LinkedIn profile first, and then once you've created a LinkedIn profile, you can actually create an Alibaba account using that. And all you have to do is just click on sign in with LinkedIn. And so this allows you to look more professional in front of suppliers. This is not necessary, but I have heard some of my subscribers and some of my team also getting an increased number of responses by doing this instead of just signing up regularly, but it's no big deal. It's just a tip. So for the purpose of this video, we're going to be using an example product, and the example product that I'm going to use is a rose quartz roller. So this is a common beauty tool. There's actually like a spin-off off the popular jade roller that just became really popular a few years ago, and I've actually made a lot of money selling a jade roller, funnily enough, on Amazon FBA. And so with the rose quartz roller, this one is just basically a different, I guess it's a different stone. Instead of jade, it's rose quartz. So I'm going to be showing you as if I'm starting a new brand with this product being the first one in my brand. So let's go on Alibaba. Let's type in rose quartz roller. Okay, we're going to hit search. There's two different ways that you can actually search for suppliers on Alibaba. You can search by product and you can search by suppliers. Now, I always recommend searching by products first just because it's the easiest, and that way you can actually see if the product is even being offered on Alibaba. We can see here that there's plenty of them. Searching by supplier is very helpful if when you actually search for the product, you don't really see any products that are exactly what you're looking for. So in that case, you can actually search by suppliers, and what that's going to do is it's going to show you all the different suppliers, okay? And then this way, even though you might not see your product there, you can always contact them using my template that you can get in the free starter pack in the description down below, and then you can ask them to potentially source it. Maybe they have it, and if not, well, suppliers in China always have connections with a bunch of other suppliers all over there, so that's why you can kind of like leverage their connections, and potentially they might be able to find your product. So now that I've searched for the product and I've got all the search results here, let's actually go through the suppliers, and I'm going to show you my thought process behind choosing the best supplier. First of all, I'm always looking for at least 3 to 5 suppliers to actually contact. And honestly, the more the better. Basically, the end goal is that we want to end up with 3 suppliers that we're actively communicating with, and then we're negotiating the price with them, and then that way we actually can get samples from them. And what a sample is basically they send you a unit of the product to your house or wherever you are, so that you can actually test out the product and really see if it's good or not. So the first thing that I always recommend doing when you actually search for a product is I always enable trade assurance, and then I also enable verified supplier. So you'll see here that the number of results that we get falls significantly. So usually it says the top here, how many suppliers there are. I can't see it right now, but the number will fall significantly because obviously now we've applied more strict filters. So trade assurance is a must, and what trade assurance is it's basically Alibaba's payment platform, and it's what you're going to actually use to pay your supplier. It's the most secure way to pay, and honestly it's amazing because in case anything happens, you can always get your money back if you actually use trade assurance. And so they'll take a credit card payment or they'll take a wire transfer, and basically they hold your money in escrow, and once your inventory is ready for shipping, then they'll actually pay the money to your supplier, and so that way it's all secure. The only thing though, and this is a very big pro tip, is that if you actually want to be covered by trade assurance, you have to message your supplier through Alibaba's messaging platform. So what I like to do usually is I like to just have them talk to me on Skype or WhatsApp, usually Skype because WhatsApp has a lot of restrictions in China lately. And what happens is that I talk to them through Skype, and then once we actually reach a deal and we've completed our negotiations, at that point I'll tell them, okay, let's talk on the Alibaba Message Center, and I basically just re-say all the terms of the deal to them, and they approve, and then I pay through Alibaba Trade Assurance, and that way there's a record of it in the Message Center, and that way I'm actually protected. So trade assurance is a must. I always have this on. A verified supplier is not a must, but it's an additional level of security. Basically what it is Alibaba sends in their own inspectors, and they actually have a vetting process for suppliers. So most suppliers in Alibaba are not verified suppliers, and honestly, if you can't find your product with a verified supplier, then just honestly turn this off. It's no big deal if they don't have it, as long as they have trade assurance. But I always like to keep this on first and then go through the results, and if I can't find the supplier I'm looking for, then I turn off verified supplier at that point. All right, so let's say that the rose quartz roller that we're looking for is this one right here. All right, so pretty simple. So we can see that there's a bunch of them, and we can see that there's a bunch at different prices. So this one's being sold for super cheap, actually. Usually I would not go for a product that's that cheap at all, but obviously just using it as an example for this video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, I'm going to open link in new tab on every single supplier that I see could be decent. And what you want to do is you look through the pictures. I can see here that, yep, that looks the same. You know, one thing that's really important to remember, and this is why getting samples is so important as well, having them actually ship a unit of the product so you can see, hold it, touch it, feel it, and so you can actually really kind of understand the minor differences between what each supplier is offering. So you'll find here that the actual color of the rose quartz roller can really vary when you actually see it in person. So on the picture, it's not an accurate representation. So it might look like this on the picture, but in person it might be much brighter, much darker, right? So that's why it's important to get samples, and you never can really trust the pictures on Alibaba, because you'll see that even though they pretty much look the same, they'll actually look different. I can already see here that the gold here looks more like a brass gold, like a brassy gold, and this one here is more of like a rose gold, right? Or it could just be the picture, I don't know. So that's why it's important to really be able to touch it and see the product. I can also see that this right here, it looks like the middle part is actually lighter than the top and the bottom part as well. Right, so that's another example of those minor differences. So I'm going to right click. So I right clicked on that, open link in new tab. Let's do the same thing for this one. And then let's also do the same thing for this one. And you just want to go through the first page, look through the pictures. If it's pretty much what you want, then open link in new tab. All right. And then we'll do this one right here. So we've got above 5 open now. So once you have about 5 to 7, you can start going through. So what you want to do is, there's not even a point in even looking at the supplier. So one thing to remember is that the price that you see here, and you'll see that it varies, right? 99 cents to $5.80. Well, that's a big difference. Which one is it? So you'll find that a lot of the times that suppliers will just put a random price range and a very wide price range. And when you actually contact them, that's when they'll actually send you the accurate quotes that they're selling the product at. The good news is that the supplier template that is included in the Amazon FBA starter pack that you get down below for free, basically, that actually includes a lot of questions that are very useful, and they automatically get you an idea of what the cheapest price you can get the product at will be. All right, so I've got the supplier contact template open right here. So you want to scroll down until you see initial contact supplier template. And so here, let's just read it really quick. So, hello, my name is Dan. I'm the owner and CEO of, and then you want to input your company name and then LLC or Inc. And then we specialize in selling category of products in country region. So basically you want to edit all of the bracketed areas here. And it's really important to edit them. A lot of people, they actually just copy this whole thing and they send it out to the supplier thinking that they're going to get an answer. If you send this thing out to a supplier with this here, then you're not going to get an answer. It's actually shocking that people do this, but I guess people are just like lazy, or I don't know what's going on in the head there. So anyway, one thing I recommend is to actually create your own template based off of this one. So don't actually just copy and paste and then edit it, like edit the brackets. I would say rewrite your own entire template and just use your own words. And the reason for this is because my videos are super popular on YouTube, and obviously suppliers know this template really, really well because it works. But at this point, because it's been so overused, and even though I tell people to write their own templates, just change the words, paraphrase, they don't do it. They're lazy. So I recommend if you change the words, but it's the same thing and you kind of personalize and adapt it to your own brand and to yourself, at that point, you're going to get a much higher response rate from your suppliers. So if we go through this, we can see here that I'm saying we want to establish a long-term mutually beneficial relationship with a high-quality supplier that can become our nationwide manufacturer for this product. So that's something very important. Suppliers are always looking for something long-term and mutually beneficial. You also want to include an Amazon link of your top competitor of the product that you're looking for. And the reason for this is to show them and ask them basically if they can provide the same product or better. So that's really important. And then if we look through the questions here, the questions are numbered because in the Chinese culture, I guess I'm not sure why, but basically the Chinese, they prefer to answer numbered questions. And if you just if we didn't put numbers, and I've had this before where in an earlier template I didn't have any numbers, they would literally just put 2 letters as an answer to my template, and it would just be okay. And so I've had that many times with an earlier template. So as soon as I put numbers down, they actually started to answer, which is very, very interesting and surprising, but it works. So if you look at the questions here, you can see we're asking if they can provide a custom logo print and custom packaging. This is very important. Don't even try to launch a product without a logo or custom packaging. A lot of people do this and they fail because of it, because there's no brand, because your product is, it looks like it literally just came off Alibaba and nobody really wants that. So that's why logo and packaging is important. For the price per unit, so here's where the magic happens in terms of negotiation. This actually does most of the negotiations for you. So typically what you'll find is that, let's say for the rose quartz roller, they'll actually give you the price for each quantity here, for each quantity range. And obviously for 5,000 pieces, you're going to get the cheapest possible price. So your goal is going to be to, and this is a big, big pro tip, I always prefer to try to go for a low minimum order quantity. And so that's what that is, minimum order quantity. It's going to be the minimum number of units that they require you to order to be able to offer a custom logo and custom packaging. And so that's why what I do is I always try to lower the price as close as possible to the 5,000 piece price, but obviously I would never order 5,000 pieces at the beginning for my first order. I'm trying to go for like 250, 500, 750, or 1,000. That's typically the first MOQ for any new product that I'm launching. And so that's a big negotiation tip right there. And you don't have to push them all the way to the 5,000 piece price because obviously they're not going to say yes. But as long as you get it almost halfway, then you're golden. At the bottom, you want to add your Skype ID, and then you can just add your name, title, and then the name of your company. If you don't have a brand name yet, if you haven't come up with one, then you can just put like a generic company name. It's no big deal. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually copy this whole template, and I am going to start sending this out to my suppliers. Okay, and you'll find there's a bunch of other useful templates as well for following up with suppliers down below, below this initial template. So it's really valuable. Like I really included all the most effective templates. So, okay, so I copied it. Right click copy. And then we go to Alibaba. Let's click on the first supplier that we found here. We're going to click contact supplier. And now a window like this opened up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here. I'm going to right click and then click paste. So now you'll find that the template gets pasted in here, but it's a huge mess. First of all, what I always do with sending messages to suppliers, I always set the quantity to 5,000. The reason why is because a higher number obviously attracts more attention. If you put 100, it's like, whatever, it's no big deal. So we're kind of like baiting the supplier, but we're just trying to get some visibility to your message. So hello, and then I'm going to hit enter. So you really want to make sure that you actually, rewrite your own based off of this one. I'm just going to use this one here, and I'm going to start editing the brackets here. Hello, my name is Dan. I'm the owner and CEO of, let's see here, Rose Beauty or something like that. Rose Beauty. We specialize in selling rose quartz rollers. All right, so here you actually want to add the link of your Amazon primary competitor, the primary product that has the exact product that you want to sell. So here it is. I'm just going to go and copy everything from that point all the way to the beginning. Right click, copy. I'm going to go back, then we're going to replace that. Okay, I'm going to keep going. All right, so I've got the template ready. So once you've actually written it out and it looks good, okay, I didn't add my Skype and the stuff at the bottom, but you want to make sure that you add that. Basically, I'm going to Command A or Control A if you're on Windows, Command A if you're on Mac, right click, copy, and then you can actually copy this into a new Word document, and that way you don't have to do this every single time you send this template to any supplier that you're contacting. And then what you do is you click on Send Inquiry Now. And so you basically do that to every single supplier that you have at the top here. And, so I would do this to this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. And the more the better, because you're not going to get answers from every single one because they're really busy, but you will get answers from, I would say, at least 60-70% of them after a day or two. And by the way, if you're sending this on a Friday night, then you're going to have to wait until Monday to get answers because obviously they don't work Saturdays and Sundays. And also make sure to check Chinese holidays, because if it's Chinese New Year, they're not going to answer you for a few weeks because that's how long Chinese New Year lasts. You can find a list of all the Chinese holidays on Google. I'll also put a link down below. All right, so let's say that we've waited a few days for suppliers to answer. So at this point, what you're looking for in your supplier communications is you're looking for basically responsiveness. So you want to make sure that they're answering relatively quickly. One big tip is that if you're in the US, then you're going to have to stay up in the evenings if you're on the East Coast, and also on the West Coast, it's just going to be a little bit earlier, like 6-7 p.m. If you're on the East Coast, it's going to be 10-11 p.m. because the time in China is obviously much different. China's on a different time zone. And so what I always do when I talk to suppliers is I type in time in Beijing, let's say during the day if I want to talk to them and I'm not getting an answer, well then obviously if it's 3 a.m, then I know why I'm not getting an answer. So I can expect an answer probably in about 5-6 hours. Now, when you're actually talking to suppliers, you'll find that they'll say things like dear, and they might say things that just seem weird to you. So one thing to understand, like I said, there's a language barrier, and also it's just a different culture, and in their culture, probably saying things like dear is just part of that. And so that's why, don't be weirded out. It's normal. So the first thing that I do when I'm talking to suppliers, let's say that out of all the suppliers that you're talking to, there's 3. You're looking for 3 that are just like the most, the most responsive, the friendliest, and the ones that are just the most cooperative and really willing to help you get this thing started. So let's say we've got this one, and this one. So what I do at that point is I actually click into the supplier's page here. And so once you do that, you'll find that you actually get to like the Alibaba profile of the supplier. So it looks like this. There's going to be a bunch of different things. And if you go and do the same thing for this one, you'll see the same thing. One thing about suppliers is if you actually, here, I'll search by suppliers just to show you. All suppliers in China, they have their name formatted in the following format. So the first word is always going to be 4 words or so. The first word is going to be the city or the district that they're actually based in. Usually it's the city. The second word is going to be the name that they chose for themselves. So in this case, it's Owl Fate. This one's Jinda. This one is Teddy. This one's Guling. This one's Easter. The third word is going to be the type of products that they sell. And the final word is going to be the type of company that the entity is. So usually it's going to be co-limited, so limited company. So that's just another tip as well. So, okay, so let's go back to the supplier page here. We had it open. So what I'm looking for here is I want to go on the actual profile of the company. So company overview. Okay, so I'm looking at the number of years that they're in business first. So this one is 2 years in business. So that's relatively new. Preferably if it's like 3, 4, 5 at least, that's better, but it's fine if it's only 2, especially if you get samples and the samples turn out really, really good. So that's no big deal. If it's 1 year, I would be skeptical. I'd prefer to work with a supplier that's been in business a little bit longer. The second thing I look for is this badge. That's the trade assurance badge, the golden dollar sign. And then verified, if it says verified, that's awesome. If it doesn't, it's no big deal, but it does give you a little bit more of a sense of security because you know that they've been vetted by Alibaba. So typically you'll find the pictures of the supplier's place, like the factory. You'll find videos and stuff. Now, obviously, they can just take these from Google. This looks like a generic factory, right? Like this doesn't look like anything specific to them. Like I wouldn't know if this is actually them or not. It says here it's verified on site by world-leading inspection company SGS, and SGS is a very big inspection company. So in that case, then I actually trust this. This is actually their factory, and we can see the workers are working. You'll find like pictures of their actual office, what it looks like. You can see he's working, right? So super cool, and they're actually making the stuff. So what I like to do is I like to go down to basic information, and then the first thing I look at is the business type. So this is going to either say manufacturer and trading company, or trading company. So what the difference between a manufacturer and a trading company is, a manufacturer is basically the factory, so they actually create the product. A A trading company, however, they're a middleman, and so they don't actually manufacture anything. What they do is they'll just buy from an existing supplier in China, and then they're going to resell it to other people, to you, at a profit. And so, yes, you might be paying more to work with a trading company, but it's no big deal. A lot of people, they think that, oh, no, trading company's bad because it's a middleman. No, not always, because sometimes the trading company might actually have the best connections to the best product, and as long as your profit margin is there and it adds up, then why not just work with the trading company? In this case, we can see they're both a manufacturer and a trading company, which is great. It means that they make products, and they also might be able to source other products that we want in the same niche that they might not create as well. So that gives us more options. So in this case, it's really good. Most suppliers that I see on Alibaba are both manufacturer and trading company. Total number of employees, it doesn't really matter. Year established, that's the year that they were created. And then we can see here the main market, so 30% North America. And let's say if that's where we're selling, that's cool. Also not really a big deal to look at that. The next thing I usually look at is their annual revenue. So in this case, we can see that their total annual revenue is confidential. It's no big deal, but if it's public, I like to see an annual revenue of at least a few million. If it's anywhere in the millions, that's also a great sign. It means that they're very experienced with exporting products. And so basically you can just do the same thing for the other suppliers as well. You can just compare the different pages. This one's 1 year, so probably not a good idea to work with them, although the sample is really what's going to decide that for you. Okay, so now it's time for you to order a sample. So you want to order samples from 3 different suppliers, and for the sample, you'll find they're going to pay about $50, $75 per unit, even if the actual unit cost is like $2 or $3. And the reason for that is because it's just a lot more expensive for them to ship out units individually and manufacture them just so you can sample them. Obviously, it's a lot cheaper to do it in bulk. And so that's why you should just be ready to pay like $50 or $75 for the sample. Now, oftentimes you can actually have them discount your first order. You can basically have the sample money reduced from your order. Honestly, if that's what you want, that's cool. I really don't usually do that just because it's not that much that you save. But if you want to save money and you're on a really limited starting budget, then it's something that you can consider. So you can have them do it. If they refuse, it's no big deal. Like it's not, $50 is not going to really make or break your business. So when you get the samples, you're going to have 3 samples. What you want to do is you want to actually look at each one. Usually you'll be able to tell right away which one is the best just by looking at it, right? Because sometimes you'll get the samples and you'll be like, whoa, 2 of them are just totally not what I expected. One of them is okay, but needs the following improvements. There are 2 tests for the sample. The first test is, well, how it looks and how it's presented to your customer, because obviously that's really, really important. Your customer is going to see your Amazon product and when it actually arrives to their house, and the first thing they're going to do is open it, and the first impression obviously is the most important. And so that's why how it looks is very important. The second thing you're looking for is you actually want to put it to use. So really, really use it, test it. If the product is a beauty product, you can test it on yourself, or if you're not really the beauty type of person, you can test it on, your girlfriend or a friend or somebody who's interested in having this product tested on themselves. You can just ask them, right? And then you can basically get their advice. And then at this point, this is where doing your due diligence and research is super, super important. So now is the time for you to actually go to your target market, to your friends or family who are in that target market that are going to be, the same people that are going to be buying your products. So let's say if I'm selling the rose quartz roller, since I'm a guy and I really am not the target market for this, although I'm sure if you guys use this, that's not the main group of people that's going to be buying this. So in that case, I would probably have my mom tell me what she thinks about it, and you really want to ask questions, right? So you sit down. I'd sit down with my mom. I'd sit down with women in my life, and I would just ask them and just basically have them tell me exactly what they think, and it has to be objective. And tell them, really make sure to tell them, be honest with me. So I tell my mom and I tell the women in my life to really be honest with me, because if they're not, and if they're trying to make you feel good, then it's not going to be an accurate kind of like depiction of your product and what it's actually worth to your target market. So once you get the samples, out of the 3, it's going to be clear which one is the winner, and that is the supplier you want to go with. At this point, negotiation is super, super important. So you want to negotiate the price down to a win-win deal. And the reason why it's a win-win deal is because if you just press them super hard, and if you just basically squeeze out the profit margin, they're not going to be willing to work with you. They're just going to send you a bad product, and you're setting yourself up to just be taken advantage of. And so that's why what I always do is I always like to go for a fair deal. And usually when speaking to multiple suppliers, you'll typically kind of get a good gut feeling for what a fair deal is for your product. Now, at this point, something very important as well is to calculate your profit margin. And for that, I'm going to show you the best way to do that. So right here, we've got the Ecom Freedom Amazon FBA Profit Calculator open. There's going to be a link for this down below. It's also free. I release a lot of things for free to help new Amazon sellers succeed. So this is where you actually calculate your profit margin using the price and shipping shipping costs that they're giving you. And so if you just walk through, if you just add the product here and you add the ASINs of your top competitors, eventually at the end, it's going to tell you whether your profit margin is good, whether it's bad, and what you should actually fix in your profit margin. Maybe you should improve, you should lower the unit cost, maybe you should lower the shipping cost. So this is going to tell you exactly what you should do to actually improve that. You're looking for a profit margin of between 30 and 50%. Anything higher than 50 is great. And anything below 30, I would say at the absolute lowest 25 if you're planning on doing a lot of volume. So that was a great live demonstration of me looking for suppliers for a rose quartz roller. Now, I did make a video recently about the 5 most important things that you absolutely must know before buying from Alibaba. It's also on my YouTube channel, and you'll also find that in the description down below, as well as the Amazon FBA playlist with all the videos that I've made on Amazon FBA, which will help you get your business started. And in that video, you'll find incredibly important tips, because really there's so many ways that you can screw up with Alibaba. Amazon FBA does not have an easy learning curve, and so that's why the more mistakes that you can prevent, the more money you're going to save, and the better chance you'll have at being successful with your business. Now, here's where a great supplier relationship becomes so important. A lot of people forget that when you are selling products online, they don't realize that, okay, well, if you piss off your supplier, then your business is done, because you're not going to be able to sell any more units. They might just basically send you bad units. They'll find a way to take advantage of you if you try to take advantage of them, or they'll just flat out refuse to work with you for your next order, which just causes unnecessary difficulties and delays. And so that's why, like I said, you always want to make sure you go for the win-win deal. As long as everything is a win-win, you'll be happy with your supplier. And I'm looking forward to the day I actually go and visit my suppliers over in China, over in Shenzhen. That's where a lot of them are. So I'm super excited for that, especially when this world situation ends. Then at that point, I'm going to go over and I'm going to visit them. So super excited for that. It's going to be cool. So after you find a supplier, the next step will be to actually place your order and then send it into Amazon once your product is ready to be sent and once it's manufactured. You're also going to want to build out your listing, get beautiful photos, write your bullet points, title, and description, and figure out how you're actually going to launch your product, because a lot of people forget that when you actually have your product arrive into Amazon, for your main keywords, you'll find that the product is like somewhere on page 17 or 26. And so you have to actually figure out a way to bring your product to page 1. And so these are just some of the steps. There's a ton of steps left to do to really make this profitable. It's nothing hard, but it is a steep learning curve. And although I've got tons of videos on my YouTube channel, which I would say are the best Amazon FBA videos online, really anywhere, nobody really offers the value that I offer for free. People barely offer that like as a paid option in their paid courses. I literally offer, my videos are literally better than a lot of people's paid courses. So, a lot of people ask me naturally, what's the difference between my Ecom Freedom course and my videos? And although my videos are the best out there for sure, there is nothing that will help you more than a complete step-by-step video course and series that will actually show you step-by-step exactly what you need to do to build a 6-7 figure Amazon FBA business that will continue growing for years to come using the brand method, which is the method that I've always taught. It's the method that I've used to grow my own brand, and it's the method that I'm using to grow my existing brand into the millions. And this will allow you to achieve a life of passive income and freedom where you won't have to work a 9-to-5 job ever again if you get a successful Amazon FBA business up and running. And obviously the best way of doing that is to join the most reputable, the best Amazon FBA program in the world, which you can judge for yourself if it's the best. We actually offer a 7-day free trial. So you can join, you can check it out without even paying a penny. So it's zero risk. The link is down below for the 7-day free trial. And the best part about the course is you actually get access to a world-class mentorship from our team of verified 7-figure Amazon FBA sellers. They're going to be there to help you along every step of the way. And you'll also get a box set shipped right to your house with the full course materials, as well as a vision planner and some other great stuff like notebooks and other planners that will help you plan out your dreams and your goals. These are directly taken from my own methods of visualization and planning out my goals, and basically my exact process of how I attract all the goals and all the success that I want in my life and that I've had so far. So the link is down below to join. You can find the 7-day free trial there. You'll also find a case study down there called the Freedom Blueprint. And depending on when you watch this video, basically we show how we took a brand new Amazon FBA business and brand, and we scaled it from a brand new product to 6-7 figures per year and a $1 million valuation in the description below. So you can also check that out. And also, if you want between $1,000 and $10,000 in investment in your e-commerce brand idea, if you haven't started yet, or maybe you're in the early stages, you can apply to get that investment from the Ecom Freedom VC down below. The Ecom Freedom VC is something that I started because I wanted to help grow new e-commerce brands and partner up with talented entrepreneurs. And so if you feel that this is something you're interested in, then I highly recommend you apply. Just put in time in the application, because a lot of people, they don't really put in any time, and obviously, they don't get any investment. Thank you so much for watching this video on how to find a supplier on Amazon FBA on Alibaba. Subscribe to my channel for more amazing e-commerce and entrepreneurship content and things that I share as I'm growing my own e-commerce businesses and my own success. You can also find my podcast down below, which I release episodes 3 times a week talking about topics I'm interested in on entrepreneurship and wealth and success. And then finally, you can also add me on Instagram at Dan Vass. You can send me a DM on there. I'm always answering DMs. And you can also follow my life as I post on my stories. Once again, thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.